Had an interesting development on our truck from Saturday with the coolant leak, the run funny, and the first thing at 8 a.m. Called and talked to the customer because I'm concerned about the head gaskets, and they wanted to go ahead and what are they beating on? Anyway, they want to know, we want to know what the pressure is in the system before they made a decision. Unfortunately, it's going to require some part. We got to seal this thing up. I can't get it sealed up the way it says. I tried. Let me show you what we did here. And what I thought was the top radiator hose leak. I put 2 clamps on it, and I just borrowed a clamp from another truck and pressure tested it again. And come to find out, it's actually a crack in the radiator in this tank. Usually they separate from where it's put together with the crimps. This is actually there's a hairline crack running across the tank there. So, I hooked up my gauge set to go and do my road test and see what kind of pressure it makes, but it's leaking, so I can't do anything with it. So we talked to the customer, and they decided, they're going to spend some money on this truck. So we're going to actually put a radiator in it to seal up that leak, and we're going to put a new top and bottom radiator hose and the thermostat and the degas bottle cap. Simply, we're going to treat this cooling system like it's nothing else is wrong with the truck. We're going to seal up the cooling system as if it were good to go and be done with it. Then once I get that sorted out, I can go drive it, see what my pressure is in the cooling system. If it doesn't break 16 pounds, then we'll chalk that up to a fluke at the moment. Unless they're every once in a while, let's say they run it and they never have a problem, and then every once in a blue moon they put a trailer with 20,000 pounds on it, and then they have it pushes coolant, and that's it. That's the only time it ever does it. Then we'll run with it. We'll not worry about it. That's fine. If it only does it every once in a while, given the mileage, we'll pop that injector in, fix that, a couple of glow plugs, kind of do a little bit more of the minimum than the maximum repair, and put them back into service and get them on the road so they can get some more life out of this vehicle. So that's the plan. So let me freshen up this coolant system, and then we'll revisit our pressures. guy on the other shot wouldn't make it up north. He's trying to knock the rotor off an F-150. I think he's using a little jeweler hammer. A little jewelry hammer. He's still hitting that rotor. Gotta hit that thing, man. I wasn't going to take this intercooler hose all the way off, but I better so I can clean out the connection. So it doesn't get oil under it and slip off down the road. Have it come back. That. Pull the fan shroud out. And we'll pull the radiator out. So we had one of our rubber stayed on the radiator, so we got to swap that rubber. We got to put that rubber back in the chassis. That one stayed in. This one's nice because it doesn't have quick. It was the year before quick release transmission cooler lines. I'll take these out. I'll keep those. I'll take out that drain cock and keep it because those are always breaking. And then there's seals. There's a seal right here for airflow. Got to change those over to the new radiator. Sometimes they get forgotten, but they'll just create an air dam between the intercooler and the radiator. So we got to make sure we put those back in. Before I put it back together, though, I'm going to go ahead and do the thermostat and take the bottom hose off. When you order these bottom hoses, depending on what year it is, there's a break, and they'll ask you, is it clocked at 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock? This one's obviously clocked at 4 o'clock. It's angled down. At 3 o'clock would be that way. So you might do a little homework before you hit to the parts department, or you're going to get the wrong part. So we'll swap this thermostat over, and then we'll put the radiator back in, get it all back together, get it filled, and then we'll pressure test it one last time. If that's all is good, then we're gonna go for a rip. See what we're doing. Normally I don't take that line loose, but this one's just being aggravating because I'm not going to mess with it. Being uncooperative, and now this is double nutted. That's why I don't like messing with it. Put this back on. Make sure the seal didn't go anywhere. So you can hear fuel bleeding off. Get that back in sight. Cooperative. And then there's our thermostat. And we'll stick the new one in. Jiggle pin goes up. That mark goes to the hose. Excuse me. To facilitate things, I knock half of this off, just because it's just totally unnecessary having that much stud sticking out to hold exhaust back pressure bracket, sensor bracket. So I'm gonna run a nut down on this, lop it off, clean it, so clean up threads and reinstall it. Now, this is why I like using factory parts. It came with the seals I was talking about. If this were an aftermarket radiator, it wouldn't have those. Those would not be on there. These clips would be some raggedy crap that you couldn't even use. So I had a couple people ask me about my plugs, and this is a prime example. So this one came with plugs plugging off the radiator cooler, and I'll also take those out and I'll keep them. And add 2 plugs to my collection. So we got the bottom hose in. I put the little rubber doodad in there. So let's go ahead and set this radiator in. Now, one trick I do so I don't have to cut the fan shroud in half is I pull the battery cable. I'll take these push pins on this loose, get this battery cable out of here because it pushes between the radiator support and the radiator. And now I've got extra room to pull this back some more, and that'll allow me to be able to slide the fan shroud down in place in one piece. Just put this back. Kind of fall down in there. Just like so. Won't run without that. Gotta have that. Let's put the top hose on. So that says a radiator. That's where your clamp goes. And then the arrow points to the line on the thermostat housing there. So there's a little line under that bracket. There's this same clamp that's on the bottom of the radiator. It's real bad for filling up with dirt, and this truck's really dirty and dusty from they go out into the fields and work on tractors out on the location. And this clamp's designed not to tear up the hose. It's kind of like an air conditioning hose clamp, where it won't cut the hose and compromise it. So it's bad about binding up on itself. So the bottom clamp, we're gonna brake clean it up really good, make sure there's no crud in there, because if we put it all together, it'll just tighten up and the whole clamp starts twisting and you can actually break it. And then you've ruined a really nice factory clamp, and you got to put a cheesy, junky worm clamp on there. So let's see here. Where are we at? Let's put the air filter in. And then when I put this hose on here, I'm not gonna put the special tool back on it just yet, because I want to pull a vacuum on the system, and I don't want to pull a vacuum on my pressure gauge that's up there. It's not reading vacuum. And then we'll put it back on right before we go drive it. The more you take these air filters in and out, the more susceptible these mass airflow sensor wiring connectors and wires are prone to getting damaged. So if you get a drivability concern come in, don't discount the fact that there could be something wrong with that. Stuff that gets the most attention under the hood, it's just, it's prone to wearing out. Put this old girl back on. Filter monitor back in. This one was kind of tight, so I'm just going to give it a little bit of lubricant to help it slide back in. You go to push that back in, and you push the grommet out. You got to take the whole thing back out again. So I'll go underneath, finish that up, and we'll radifill this thing. That'll actually help us determine if we have a leak or not. If we can't pull a vacuum, we still got a leak. And we'll go take this thing for a rip.